Alright, today's lesson is discussing estimating quotients using compatible numbers. Hopefully you remember what those are. You're going to have lots of practice with it today. Let's read what it's telling us at the top, please. A horse's heart beats 132 times in 3 minutes. About how many times does it beat in 1 minute? So there's your question. And what did you notice that was in the question? The word about. So that is going to be important to us. That means we are going to estimate. So it says you can use compatible numbers to estimate your quotients. And we have already done compatible numbers and know that they are numbers that are easy to compute mentally. There are a couple of questions here in the blue box. Let's read those first, please. Will a horse's heart beat more or fewer than 132 times in 1 minute? Now let's think about what we had over here for our information. It said 132 times in 3 minutes. So the question said, will the horse's heart beat more or fewer than 132 times in 1 minute? So Morgan, can you tell me what you would pick here? Well, which is it? More or less? Okay, why?
Because it's at 132, that's already 3 minutes.
Okay.
If it's going to be 1 minute, it's going to be fewer.
Okay, so she's saying that this is for 3 minutes, and we're going to have to go less because 1 minute is less than 3. So you're going to write what on the line? Fewer, because it asked you more or fewer. Always read what it's asking for. And I want you to think about what operation we're going to use to solve this problem. So what operation do you think we're going to use to solve 132 and 3? Mackenzie? Division. So you're going to write division here. Now guys, if you pay attention to what's going on the page, does it kind of already give you that? Yes, it does. Plus, what have we been concentrating on in this chapter? Division. So if you look, they're going to estimate the 132 divided by 3. Gives you a couple of different steps here, so follow closely with them. First, we're going to find a number that is close to 132 that divides easily by 3. And this is where our multiplication basic facts are going to come in. So if you know your multiplication facts, it should not be as hard for you as you think. So if you look here, they say that 12 divided by 3 is a basic fact. You see that? So they're using 120. Look how close 120 is to 132. Are you with me? Yeah. So they know that 3 and 12 are something that we can divide with. Okay? So they're taking 120 divides easily by 3. And they also know that 15 divided by 3 is one of your basic facts. And that's going to make it 150 dividing easily by 3. So basically what you're thinking about is I'm looking at this going, okay, I have to get close to 130, right? Well, can I do that with dividing it by 3 like that? No, I can't. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick something that I can easily divide by. We know that 3 times 4 is 12, and we know that 3 times 5 is 15, and then I can add the zeros. Okay, even though this number does not have a 0, that's kind of what we're thinking about. Does that make sense? Use those basic facts. So the 3 times the 4 would give you the 12, so that's going to be the same thing we're doing here, only we're going to have a 0 with 120. So it says choose 120 because it is closer to what? 132. So you can see that your 132 is closer to your 120 than it is to 150. All right, so are you going to have to kind of do the what's less and what's greater than the number you see? Yeah, so we kind of have to do that again, don't we? So look over here at the second step of doing this. This is going to be able to use place value to help you out. So if it says 120, how many tens is that? Fred, say it again. 12. So 120 is 12 tens, so I will write it in there. When I take the 12 divided by the 3, I get what? 4, because we know that 4 times 3 is 12. So that means that 12 tens divided by 3 tens is going to give you 4 tens. So that also means that 120 divided by 3 would then be 40, because we have that 0 on there. So that means that a horse's heart beats about 40 times a minute. So a couple things to think about. You're looking for what kind of facts can I use with 3 to get close to the 13, I guess you can say. Did you see that I knocked off the 2? And I didn't worry about that. They're using 12, which is close, and 15, which is close because I can do a basic fact with that. Question? What would 14 be? Can I divide 14 divided by 3 evenly? That's why it's not using that, right? They're using the ones that you can divide evenly, okay? So 12 you can divide evenly by 3, and so can 15. If you use 13 or 14, it wouldn't divide evenly. You'd have a relief. Does that make sense? Okay, good question. Okay, let's try another example down here. It says, use compatible numbers to find 2 estimates that the quotient is between. So that's kind of what they did here. Remember doing 2 that is between and then picking the one that's closer to? That's what it's doing down here. So it says to find 2 numbers close to 1,382 that can divide easily by 5. So think about your 5 facts. You with me? So what number divided by 5 could be a basic fact for 1,000? Obviously you're going to use what? What's an easy one? An easy fact, meaning you're going to take a counting number or a multiple of 10. So what's the first one I want to use that's the easiest, Cheyenne? 10 is going to be your easiest. Start with your easy 10. Now, if you think about this, 10 divided by 5 is an easy basic fact, and now all I have to do is add what to that? The 2 zeros, because I have what kind of number over here? 1,000. So basically what I'm doing here is I'm looking at the 13. Okay? Is that something I can divide by 5 and get an even number? No, but 10 is below that, and it can be divided by 5 evenly. And then what's above that can be divided by 5 evenly? Aha, so what's your next one you're going to use? 15. Okay? So you're thinking about something lower than this. So basically I'm making zeros out of this 8 and the 2, and I'm only using the 13. I know that 13 is not divisible by 5 evenly, but I do know that 10 is, and I know that 15 is. See how they're using those? Yes? And then they add the zeros for where your 8 and your 2 would be. Okay? So 1,382 is between what 2 numbers? We're going to use the large numbers. 1,000 and 1,500. Now, that means it says, so 1,382 divided by 5 is between, let's go over here and do this before we answer it. I don't know why they put it here. Let's go over and do step 2 before we answer that question. Okay? So are you kind of following me here? You're going to have to use your basic facts with 5 because that's what you're dividing by. Yes? Okay. Now we're going to divide each number by 5 using place value. So it's the same thing we did over here. 1,000 divided by 5 is how many hundreds? Think about how many hundreds. Hundreds have how many zeros? 2. So what do I have left after I get rid of those 2 zeros? 10. I get rid of the 2 zeros. What number is sitting here still? 10. So 10 hundreds divided by 5 gives me how many? What number times 5 gives me 10? 2. So 2 hundredths, or I can write it out as the number 200. Following? You've got to kind of think about place value here when you're talking about these. So 1,500 divided by 5. How many hundreds am I going to have this time? Take off the zeros for hundreds. I'm going to have 15 left. Divide that by 5 gives you 3, because 5 times 3 is 15, or I can say it is 300. So that means that my number 1,382 divided by 5 is going to be between 200 and 300. Remember that we are not writing the 1,000 and the 1,500 when we tell what it's between. Because if you notice, 1,500 is actually larger than your 1,382. Is that possible when you're dividing?
No.
No, so you need to use the numbers here. Okay? So this is what you do for step 1, figuring out what of your basic facts you're going to use, and then you're going to actually figure that out into where you get 200 and 300. You're actually going to have to do the division. 1,000 divided by 5 and 1,500 divided by 5. You're all okay with this so far? You're going to have some more practice on this. Flip the page. All right, let's try this next one. We're going to estimate 1,718 divided by 4. So again, what facts am I thinking about? 4 facts, right? So now if I look at this number, is 17 divisible by 4 evenly? Okay, but what's close that is? 16 is divisible by 4, right? So I'm going to put the 16. Now, what do I need to add to the 16? 2 zeros, because we're in thousands, right? So we need a number that is in thousands. Okay? And what's a number that's higher than 17 that's divisible by 4? It would be 20, right? And then you're going to use 2 zeros to make 2,000. Does everybody see what we're doing here? Yeah. You're finding numbers that are around that. Okay, so then what's the basic fact of this that I can use easily? Brayden, what's my basic facts from 1,604? Basic fact. What did we learn yesterday? I'm taking off what? So I'm going to have what left? So 16 divided by 4 is going to be my basic fact for that one. What am I taking off of this here? Maurice? Okay, so I have what left? 20 divided by 4 is going to be my other basic fact. Yes? Okay. So when I do that, what's 16 divided by 4? The 4 that we talked about, right? And then I have how many zeros over here? 2 zeros to add back to it. 20 divided by 4. 5. How many zeros? 2. So I'm looking at this, right? Yeah. Okay, now it says choose 1,600 because, why would I choose 1,600? Cheyenne? Closer to what? Good. So you're going to write in here, it is closer to 1,718. 1,600 is closer to 1,718 than 2,000 is. Okay. Couple more things to do down here. We already kind of did it over here. 16 divided by 4 was 4. So that means that 1,600 divided by 4 is going to give you your 400 we already did, right? So that means that 1,718 divided by 4 is about 400. So we didn't really have to do this one right here because we only used this one because it was closer. Okay, you still need to be able to do one that is less than and one that is greater than the number you're looking at because there's going to be a part on your homework page that you're going to have to do that. You're going to have to give me the 2 that it is between. Okay? You all understand what you just did there? All right. So down here, you're going to use compatible numbers to estimate the quotient again. Please remember, we are using the first 2 numbers to help us out. What are we doing with the last number? Making it a 0. Okay? Because that's what we're going to be looking at. Now, it doesn't tell you you have to do the between here. So do I have to do 2? No, I just have to find what I can use. So can 45 be divisible by 9? Yes. So I'm going to change this to 450 divided by 9. Okay? So something a little bit easier like that. Some of these will be divisible. Some of them you're going to have to change to something that's close. So what is 450 divided by 9? Not 5. 50 because I have a 0, so I have to make sure I bring it down. Okay? I want you to work with